Esther Beaton, and home is the Central Coast. It's been Canberra, Sydney, and you may note by my accent that it's not an Australian accent, so once upon a time home used to be California, and I do miss it, but the Central Coast is great. I love it here. There's so much to discover. Used to be a bird watcher in California, and just the next thing from the binoculars was the telephoto lens, I guess, and just discovered the beautiful wildlife of Australia. I'm crazy about it. And it's a combination of the artistic element and the scientific element, the discovering. As soon as you line something up in your viewfinder and watch with fascination what's going on, you start also asking yourself the questions about why is this bird or this insect or whatever behaving like that. And that leads me off into storytelling. I share my stories through my photos, which I appear in books, and I do a lot of magazine articles internationally. I supply them to a lot of children's magazines too. Great place to put stories about, did you know about quolls, or discovering antechinus's and all our strange wildlife. And I also like to interact with people on a personal level. So here on the Central Coast, I didn't realize it when I first moved here, but there's some magnificent scenery. The rainforest, I didn't know we had so many pockets of rainforests. And then I discovered even some strange wildlife, like regent bowerbirds. I was so surprised to just hear them and see them this far south from Queensland. So I started doing these day safaris, these photographic excursions, teaching people photography, but in combination with discovering what's in our bushlands as well. I had this assignment that I was doing for Australian Geographic magazine. I had proposed it to them. It was based pretty much on some photography that I had done in WA, in Western Australia, but I thought surely there must be something more local. And no sooner did I have that thought, I was sitting having coffee and with a friend who was joined by his friends who said they can't stay long because they're on their way to do some orchid hunting. My ears shot up. Orchid hunting? What? I need this. So I followed them off into the bush, and they showed me these tiny, when I say tiny, you cannot believe how tiny. Like off the ground, they're that high, and the little flower heads, say about half a dozen little flowers on a stalk like that. And each one of those little flowers is about that big. But I was kind of observing them through my macro lens. And then these little flecks on the flowers were moving. I thought, what's that? And I noticed that they were flies. Didn't think too much of them, but I thought, why do flies have little yellow things on the tops of them? And eventually I noticed that they were carrying plumes of pollen, and they were on their backs, these double plumes. They look like little emperors with headdresses. So I photographed these, but I sent the photos down to the Australian Museum, and the entomologist there said, oh, this is very unusual. This is amazing. So he sent them off to the world expert on the fly pollination or whatever, who said, oh, interesting behavior and wonderful records. So another example of how here we are right under our noses, this scientific discovery being made. My greatest hope for Gosford area, my community, is more open spaces that have something more to offer than just bike paths. I like to see gardens. I like to see nature activities. Get ourselves, let's be outdoor Australians once more.